Hello and welcome to a Bergkamp Wonderland and Arsenal podcast. I'm Gimli and tonight my guests are, first up, he's everybody's favourite fatty, it's Danny the BFG.
BFG?
Yeah, big fat git.
You horrible human. Actually, Dom's just turned around and going, yes, mate. I have been on an exercise and diet binge for the whole year. I'm averaging 1,400 calories a day.
Is that Pepsi Max? You switched to Pepsi Max?
I don't drink Pepsi Max anymore. The aspartame in there will fucking kill me.
Poverty.
No, but I've been drinking fizzy water. I always drink fizzy water anyway. It's either that or Bollinger. I don't know. I've never even had that. No, so I've been on a diet.
Really?
Yes, and I am urinating like a horse. It is horrible.
I'm genuinely stunned that you've... I mean, is that your New Year's resolution to...
I started it in...
Because it'll take more than a year. You realise that?
I started it just after Christmas Day, but then me and Sean always have a New Year's Eve feast where we spend 70 quid on crisps and sweets and chocolate and shit, and then we eat all that, and then the next day we don't eat any of it.
Really?
So,
gave up in the first week. There you go, ladies and gentlemen.
I didn't start it on the first.
In the first week.
I started it on the 27th until the 30th, and then from the first onwards. See, this is too much information already.
I can't just say, right, that's it. I'm gonna not have a spliff in the new year and go, but I have a cheeky one for New Year's and get absolutely shit-faced. It doesn't work like that, Danny. It doesn't work like that.
At midnight on New Year's Eve, I didn't eat any of the naughty stuff. I left it all on the table. Those wagon wheels were saying, "Eat me, fatty, eat me."
Were they jammy ones?
Oh, they were.
Oh.
And Pringles.
Oh.
And full fat Dr. Pepper, all sat there wanting, and I said, "No, you're not having it. I don't want to become a bit chubby."
Our next guest would have eaten them up. touching cloth, it's Raj Patel. Hello, Raj.
Hello there. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. It's been a while.
I know I've been travelling a lot for the last few months, but I'm glad to be back and contribute to this wonderful podcast. I've got plenty to say tonight.
Well, tell our lovely listeners some of the wonderful places you've been in the last few months.
Oh, I've just got back from Borneo, met up with a few orangutans and stuff like that, and
Davis was over there.
On tour with the band and off to Denmark soon for a few shows as well. So keeping ourselves busy, but it's nice to be back home in the ice cold, freezing weather. This time last week it was 33 degrees.
And next week there'll be snow.
Yes, exactly.
What a thought. Next up, Eton old boy and podcast favourite, it's Andrew Fife. Hello, Andrew.
Hello, Gimli. How you doing?
Not too bad. Again, it's been a while.
It has been. I feel like I'm on the end of season appearances when Wenger used to chuck players in so they'd get their 10th appearance. It feels like that. Me, Raj, Jimmy, if I'm allowed to announce that he's already on, making up the numbers today.
Oh, you just told everybody. That's the biggest rule broken at the start.
Fife, it's called pulling a Stuart Taylor in the trade.
Yeah. Who's the other one? Keown did it in the Invincible season, didn't he?
Yeah, because they kept cheering him. And was it Parlour got up and warmed up? And he says, no, I want to come on.
Apparently Keown was running after him, wanting to hit him. Yeah, it was brilliant. But yeah, no, that's how I feel. So thanks for having me back on, guys. I appreciate it. I haven't been on for a while.
But if you made yourself available, you'd be on a little bit more. Just a heads up.
All right.
Tiger. He's back on. You've been horrible to him. We're getting another letter of complaint from a High Court Justice again because he's got connections.
Oh, fuck me, not another one. Anyway, we'll move on to our final guest, and I can be nice to him because he is a fucking diamond geezer. Backed by popular demand, it's old friend Jimmy Slate. Hello, Jimmy.
Hi, Gim. How's it going?
Yeah, not too bad. It's been a while.
Has been a long time. I feel like I'm in the same boat as Fife. We're wrestling on the touchlines to be the sub for the gold medal, I think, aren't we?
Yeah, it really does. It feels like we're giving you an appearance just so you can get your end of season medal.
Absolutely.
But you will. But I confirm though, because not that I've asked you, but I know you will be. But I can confirm you will be back for transfer deadline day, won't you?
Love a transfer deadline day. Yeah.
I mean, it's just like hours of nothing, but we'll all be here. We'll all be here, and we know this. Right, anyway, those were your lovely panellists for tonight. Danny, we'll go over to you next. You have all of the scores across the board, and I hope you've got a loan watch, because that's what I got written here.
Well, I'm just looking at George Bird's wonderful loan watch update. There's not really much to say. We know that Jack didn't play against us, but we've got a new young kid coming in, Cohen Bramall from Hensford, left back, paid 40 grand for him. He had him on trial. He's been doing pretty well, so we've ended up buying him. Super Dan Crowley. It looks like he's going to go ahead Eagles. I think Overmars had something to do with those back in the day. So it looks like he's going there. Zelalem.
No.
looks like he might be going on loan. The young bloke that we've got on loan at Colchester, Glenn Kamara, just get rid of him now. He's on his way back from Colchester because it hasn't worked out. The ones in Spain haven't been playing because they're on their Pegala Wegala Zulazuela, and who's the other one? John Terrell, because Spain have had their break and they've only just come back from playing. I think they played a couple of Spanish FA Cup games at the weekend, but I don't think any of those lot did. Good news for Matt Macy, I think that he Martin Allen has gone to be the manager of the club that he was at, whose name I can't remember, and so he was getting some games, but he might be coming back. Christian Bielik, he's not really been doing much, which is a bit of a shame because I'd like to see him go out loan. George Bird is saying that quite a few of these players could do with going out on loan because ZLM had a wonderful loan at Rangers last season.
No.
Has done bugger all. I could have said fuck all then, but I didn't. The results, nothing. The ladies haven't played since November, and the last youth result was the 16th of December. We lost 1-0 at home to Blackburn. And the injuries, oh God, we've got something to talk about. It says Perez is injured, ankle injury, which I didn't know about. Gibbs has got a knee injury and any day, and Walcott's got a calf strain, back any day. Debuchy, hamstring any day. Mertesacker, knee, 2 weeks. Koscielny's injured? When did this happen? Oh, yeah, last night when he went off. He's got a thigh injury, they reckon a couple of weeks. Coquelin has got a hamstring, 3 weeks. And Santi Cazorla, the man with the quietest feet in football, 1 month Achilles, and that's it.
What about Danny? When is Danny? He's in training.
Oh, he's training. Yeah, he should be. But I didn't say it on there, so maybe he's back already. He was. There were some pictures of him training with the Jeff, so making the Jeff look like a tiny wee little baby child. So expecting to be back any day, and then injured the next day.
Interesting.
Yes.
Right then. What should we talk about first? I think it only has to be one place, and that's the game against Crystal Palace. There really is only one place to start about this game, and it's gonna be that goal. Jimmy, what were your thoughts on that goal?
I think the goal stole the moment, didn't it, with the finish? But I think the beauty of it, sort of, because everyone's talking about this sort of Giroud versus Mkhitaryan, which is the better goal, sort of X, Y, and Z. But like, I think that the link-up play was sort of very Wenger ballish, wasn't it? With I think I read it was 13 seconds box to box, and Giroud was actually integral to the move, starting with the sort of Cruyff flick layoff, and then obviously bust the gut for once, which we all say that we want him to do so often, and then sort of made a very, very average Sanchez cross look exceptional. And I was trying to go through the archives of the best Arsenal goals that I've seen in 2 decades of going to watch them live, and I don't think there's anything that you'll see anything like that. I mean, he's meant it completely. He's watched the ball onto his foot. He's looked up immediately. Probably maybe a 1 in a million, but just the most sensational goal. And it was quite strange in the stadium, really, because it was just one of those feelings of like there was just a jaw hitting the floor sort of thing. It was just that it was sparking a silence amongst 60,000 people, and then just complete elation. It honestly was quite a sensational thing to see.
Yeah, it definitely was. Raj, we'll go to you next. There were so many beautiful elements to that goal. I mean, the Perez tackle, the initial flick by Giroud to take it to Xhaka, who then passed to Iwobi, who then played it down the line to Sanchez, who, like Jimmy said, I mean, it wasn't a great cross, but the end product was phenomenal, wasn't it?
It was absolutely unreal. I mean, I actually was on a plane when the game kicked off, so I didn't know what happened until I got off the flight 14 hours later, and the first thing I saw was we won 2-0, and then I ignored it for about 3 hours until all I could see on Twitter and social media was Scorpion. So in the end, decided to watch it, and it was an unbelievable goal. Not only was it an individually brilliant goal, it was a brilliant team goal as well, because the build-up was absolutely fantastic. But if you see 1,000 goals in the Premier League this season, that's going to be right at the top. I just thought it was a wonderful goal, and well done, Olivier. It was fantastic.
I mean, we have a history of scoring good goals with great build-up play. I mean, you look at the goal against Norwich, for instance, and it's in our blood. Andrew, Do you think that comes in the top, say, 3 of all-time goals we've seen under Arsene Wenger at Arsenal?
Yeah.
It's definitely up there. That piece of technique was unbelievable. It's, for me, the best goal I've still seen under the Wenger era was the Dennis Bergkamp goal away at Newcastle. And then there's just been so many fantastic goals. As you say, we've won goal of the season countless times. The Thierry Henry goal against Liverpool at home, against Tottenham at home. But I think for individual brilliance, I know obviously the team bit was good as well, but we've probably seen better team play. I think that's probably the best piece of technique we've seen for a goal, yeah, for sure.
And Danny, the goal was likened to Mkhitaryan, and a lot of the pundits said that maybe Giroud had that in mind when he scored it. But for me, and without my Arsenal glasses on, Mkhitaryan was offside, and Giroud's was just a thing of beauty. Your thoughts on the two?
Yeah, the Mkhitaryan one was okay, but I think he kind of knew he was offside. But it's Man United; they get away with that shit all the time. But Giroud's, I was listening to.
He had his eyes closed.
Yeah, who did?
Mkhitaryan.
Did he?
Yeah, he had his eyes closed.
Oh, so he didn't know he was offside.
I mean, he probably did, but when the ball lands on the back of his ankle, he's got his eyes closed. I think there's an element of luck in that compared to Giroud's. Yeah. I mean, both of them have an element of luck, but.
Yeah, but I was listening to Gunnar Ramble today, and I think Mark King was on there with his pink corduroys, rubbing them. You could hear him rubbing them together, and he was saying that that Sanchez actually looked backwards. Not Sanchez, Giroud looked backwards when he did it. And I don't think if you'd had, they say that's 1 in 100. That's not. That's 1 in ever. He'd never ever do that again. If he lived to be 1 billion years old, I doubt very much he'd be able to do that again, because I mean the build up to the play was fantastic. I mean, didn't Giroud start the build up off? And then it went around a few people. And then it's very odd for Sanchez to put in a bad ball. I don't think he was expecting Giroud to be running that quick, because I think Giroud's a little bit like a giraffe, that they're quite slow to get going. But once they're going, you can't slow them down. So, but then it almost looked. I mean, I went and had a look at this after I heard Mark talking about it. And then he actually looks behind him, and then he's looking at his ankle and the back of his boot. And I was thinking, that's unbelievable. Because the first time you see it, you think, oh, he's falling over. It's just hit the back of his foot and gone in. But for it to have done that and knew the ball was behind him, clipped it with his heel. I mean, he didn't try to aim it to get it off the post and in. But I mean, like Jeff always says, real life isn't FIFA, but you can guarantee in next year's FIFA that's going to be one of the special tap 17 buttons and hold your breath and stand on one leg to try and score a Giroud scorpion kick. He'll be like René Higuita when he did the scorpion save for is it Colombia who he played for? Yeah. He's still dining out on that now, and that was 20 years ago. So Giroud to do that's going to go as the best goal he's ever scored. Like Andrew was saying, apart from the Bergkamp goal, I can't think of one better. I mean, there's been a few really impressive ones, like Limpar from the halfway line against Liverpool. That was a stunning goal. And David Platt, I think he scored. No, Ljungberg, when one of his first games for Arsenal, he scored against Man United. I think he chipped Barthez maybe from the edge of the box. The goal where Özil and Sanchez this season chipped the goalkeeper. I mean, that's just some that are coming to mind. But yeah, Giroud has been absolutely brilliant. And if I was want to look back at his the games that he's played so far this season, with these last few matches. Last match got an opta of 9.4, man of the match, a goal, 2 assists. Game before that, 8.29 and a goal. Game before that, 7.73 and a goal. I think this bloke needs to get a lot more love from Arsenal fans. And I mean, I know a lot do, but a lot are so harsh on him. When he is only a kind of one-trick pony, isn't he? He is only an Alan Smith, a person who plays up in one position up front, but he works his arse off every single game, and it doesn't always come off for him, but he's in one hell of a streak of form at the moment.
But how much does Olivier Giroud go out if you try and find an alternative to him? I mean, how much does a player like that go for? Yet he's that underestimated at our club, But we'll go to Jimmy next, because we all know it was an individual piece of brilliance, but when a ball goes in off the bar, it just makes it so much sexier. For example, for instance, Tony Yeboah.
Yeah.
And he is the point of the triangle when it comes to in off the bar goals. He is the epitome of that.
Before Jimmy says anything, can I just say something about the Yeboah? I was listening to the Arsecast today, and Andrew was saying on there that it has to be goal of the, or is it and Arsecast or Gunner Blog is saying on there that it has to be goal of the season because it had the Yeboah effect, and it was an actual thing putting it in off the bar. The Yeboah effect. Brilliant.
Oh yeah.
Brilliant phrase. Go on, Jimmy. Sorry.
I think I think The Yeboah goal is obviously one that you see over and over and over again, and no one even knows what happened to his career 3 months after he scored that goal. But I think probably the most infamous one I remember, around the late 90s, Beckham hit that corner out to Scholes against Aston Villa, and he put a volley in direct from a corner from about 30 yards in off the bottom of the bar, didn't he?
Oh yeah, that was a beautiful goal.
Yeah, which was an unreal strike. But yeah, just going on to Giroud, he gets slated quite a lot as a one-trick pony. There's a very, very surreal feeling amongst the fans again around him in the stadium. Half kind of want him to fall over and die, and the other half are singing his infamous "Na Na 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 Na" Giroud song in sort of good Beatles fashion. But if you look back at the goals,
does Raj get a royalty for you saying that?
It was there for you, Raj. It was there for you.
£1, please. Thanks very much.
But if you look back at the good goals we've scored in the last 5 years, Giroud is involved in all of them. The Norwich-Wilshere goal, Giroud's involved in all the link play, plays the chip ball through to Jack, who then puts it away. The Bournemouth goal last year that was called Total Wenger ball, where Ozil scored, Giroud plays the ball over to him. He plays the dink over to Podolski in the Champions League, where Podolski scores that rifle left-footed volley. And then obviously the first game of the season last year, he scores that tremendous bicycle kick from a poor Ozil corner against Crystal Palace. Like, he scores some really, really, really top-class goals. And I think he's got 90 for Arsenal now. And never have you really ever seen a footballer slated as much as maybe him and Walcott, who I think has got 90 goals for Arsenal as well, who are on the verge of joining the 100 club, which I think there's only 17 or 18. Danny, you'd be better with these sorts of stats, who've actually ever scored 100 goals for Arsenal in their obviously 120 odd years of existence.
I shall have a look.
I do think one of the problems with Giroud, a lot of his reputation is still based on that. The first season when he first came in, he was there to replace Van Persie, and clearly his first season he was poor. He was a poor player, and he was technically very slow. He fell over himself. He couldn't beat people. He routinely missed very, very easy chances, and he was obviously, he was adapting to English football. He came from, albeit he came from Montpellier, but who were champions of France. But I think that was he'd only played one season in Ligue 1 or maybe two, and before then he'd always been, a lower tier player in France, and it was a huge step for him. And I think it took quite a lot of time. It's taken him time to shake off that kind of that donkey reputation he had, and it was obviously, slightly unfair. He's come in straight after Van Persie, who was probably the most technically gifted player we've had in the team since Bergkamp, and it was always going to be big shoes to fill. But I remember in his second season he hit a goal early against Napoli. He scored against Tottenham early because he barely scored against a big team in his first season. I'm not sure if he even did score a goal. And a lot of the goals he scored in his first season weren't actually goals that won us games.
Wasn't his first goal for Arsenal a penalty against QPR or someone like that? I believe it was, because it was an English Cup game that wasn't even streamed.
Yeah, it was a League Cup game. Yeah, he scored 17 goals in his first season, though, 5. If you remember Henry and Bergkamp getting
Coventry.
bedded in.
But that's what I mean. And
he got a brace skim. I think he got 2 in that game.
And that's part of my point. I mean, it was his first season, so I'm not knocking him, but I'm saying he did get a lot of stick from fans for not being Van Persie this year. And I am saying that was quite unfair. I mean, his first game he came on off the bench, and remember he missed that sitter against Sunderland, and there was a kind of, Christ, we haven't replaced Van Persie feeling around the fans for quite some time. And then in the second season he came back and he really worked on his fitness. He looked much stronger. He was driving the team. He was scoring goals. His link up initially with Ramsey and Ozil that second season was much, much stronger. I remember he got dropped after he was caught cheating on his wife by Wenger, and we played Sonogo for a while. And that kind of dropped his confidence. But then remember his third season, he was dropped for a while for Theo last season. Theo started the season as our main striker, and then that really put the shafters up him. And he came back last season much stronger, and then kind of faded off slightly again. And he went through a period last season when he didn't score for, was it 2 months or 3 months nearly? And it's been almost not too dissimilar a season this year as the last two. He was dropped, early on. It took him quite a while to get back from the Euros, and he was dropped for for Sanchez up front. And now he kind of really reacts so well, doesn't he, to the pressure of being dropped. He has been a fantastic man for us coming off the bench, now starting. And I do think he's, we're starting to see him shake off that early day reputation. We just can't afford for him to go through periods again where he didn't score effectively for 2.5 months last season, misses, and I guess that's why we've got Sanchez up top now. But he's still been a brilliant player for us, and I think he gets maligned far too much by the fans for what he gives us.
But
he needs more support from the fans, doesn't he? Really, I mean, he's got his faults and stuff, but I don't think the fans give him as much support as he needs. I think he's done a really good job for us over the last 3 years, and I just feel bad for that. He still gets castigated for bits and pieces here and there, and if it had been any other player, they'd all be after him. So he's a much sought after player as well. I think if he was on the market, there'll be a lot of clubs in for him. And I think we as fans have got to try and give him support and back him up over the next few months. We've got a very crucial 2 or 3 months coming up now, so let's get behind him and all the other players, but specifically him.
Yeah. All right, well, we'll try and roll this on then, because we've still got a 3-3 to talk about with plenty of incident in that one. So we'll try and go through this as quick as possible, because we've still got listener questions and a little bit on transfers as well. So stay tuned for that. Danny, we'll go to you next. Crystal Palace were woeful at the back, weren't they? They were all at 6s and 7s.
Yeah, they certainly were, but that's what they've been doing all season. That's why they're 4th from bottom of the Premier League. That's why it looks like they probably will go down. I know Sam Allardyce is the man that you call in. He is the Red Adair of the Premier League clubs on fire. Might have to Google that one, kiddies. But I think this may be a step too far, because Sunderland, I think, as long as Sunderland keep hold of Defoe, they've got goals in them. Swansea, it's only a matter of time till they turn it around, because they have got lots of decent players there, and the bloke they're going to bring in is another decent manager. He did rubbish at Derby, but there is a reason why everyone keeps having him as their assistant manager. I mean, assistant manager at Chelsea, Real Madrid, Bayern Munich, and now PSG. So Hull are fucked. They're gone. They know they're gone. I just hope with Middlesbrough. When I was doing the roundup, I forgot to point out that Mr. Fife reminded me that Callum Chambers is is fantastic for Middlesbrough this season. He's having a hell of a season, just like Jack is. He's playing 90 minutes week in, week out, and the only time he doesn't play, either of them don't play, is when they play against Arsenal. And Jimmy said that the John Terrell his loan at Granada has been cancelled, and he might be going to Rangers. So, yeah. There's a couple of bits there I missed out. Yeah, but the Palace are rubbish. When they've got some really good players who on their day are good. Zaha, who has been linked with going to Spurs.
But then
Townsend
again, Danny, even
good.
Zaha, do you not think Zaha spent most of the game on the ground?
Yeah, that's what he does, though, wasn't he? He's even if he sees the mascot now, he gets this urge to dive.
Hasn't he? He must have taken a good 4 or 5 dives this season. He'll fit in well up.
And that was just a game against us, Fife. He was constantly on the floor. I was lucky enough to sit there and watch that game with a Palace fan, and he's one of the fans that he calls it right down the middle. And he said that he would have taken 10 million for Zaha just because he spends most of the game on the floor, and he just dives the whole game.
I think Palace's best player would have been Flamini for helping getting out of the way when Giroud wanted to score the goal. It's nice to see Iwobi getting a goal, but people need to remember the kid's only 20. He's only probably played 50 games, and it's only his second. Well, it's only his 1.5 seasons. He's had 2 half seasons, the back end of last and the first half of this. Now I know I give him a little bit of grief and say he shouldn't be playing. He shouldn't be playing every single game. Maybe start the odd game that it's not important, and other games it needs to be the Ox that comes in and plays on that place, because Ox is the seasoned pro. Wenger seems to be obsessed with making Iwobi into a future star, when all about the Ox. The Ox is having the best season ever, and the Ox needs to start more games. I know occasionally he'll go missing, but look what he did against Bournemouth. He was one of our best players in the second half. Yeah, but Palace are rubbish. They've got so many rubbish players.
Ox is another one like Giroud there, where you're talking about the confidence and someone who needs confidence and someone who needs the crowd behind him. You see Ox, I sit there very close to the pitch. I'm only 9 rows up. As soon as Ox misplaces a pass, his head just drops and he shakes his head, and it does affect him for a good couple of minutes. And then when he's subbed off invariably before the 70th minute, you can see his head, he's really down about it. He takes it personally. He's one player we really need to be behind as fans.
Yeah, no, I agree. Another one is Ramsey. And considering Ramsey, I thought Ramsey had a bit of a shocker the other night against Bournemouth. But he's another one. Again, we've said it on this podcast before. He's a confidence player. When things are going well, it's effortless. But when things are going badly, he can't do wrong for doing right. Right, we will talk about the Iwobi goal. And Jimmy, I'll go to you. it seems like the whole talk of Giroud, and with this podcast, we've done it again. It kind of overlooked the Iwobi goal because, had Messi have gone out and done something like that, a little dink over the keeper, the commentators would have wanked themselves dry over it. But I thought it was an absolutely brilliant goal from him, and he must be credited for it.
Yeah, I think Iwobi really, he's had a couple of really standout performances, hasn't he, since he's been blooded into the first team. Everton last year, him and Welbeck were absolutely standout. Early on in the season this year, I mean, Sanchez and Ozil took all the plaudits, but he was phenomenal against Chelsea when we smashed them 3-0. And the other night was probably his best appearance, I think, in an Arsenal shirt. He was exceptional. I mean, what shoes to fill having to come in for Ozil, and Wenger plays him in what probably looks like his best position, being 10, which is probably one of my biggest qualms of the Bournemouth game when he's played him again, why he didn't start him in that 10 role, because he pulled Palace to pieces in that game at 2-0. And his goal was capped off a really exceptional performance. Like you say, it's a very, very cute finish, well thought out, and practically placed it between a keeper and two defenders, and the top of the net, and a great finish. And he looks like he gets fulfilled with more and more confidence every minute he plays. The only small critique I would have of his game is he still looks vulnerable with physical contact against opposition players. And I think he needs to grow a bit of a biting edge, take a leaf out of Wilshire's. But when he was in his late teens, early 20s, he just went in as hard as he got hit. I know he ended up getting numerous amounts of injuries for it. But I think he could learn a little bit from that, because I think the ball will probably pop up more for him and he can break away. But bar that, Iwobi looks like a real talent. And a lot of the guys, if you read the .com site, say that he's the one to watch for 2017, and I think you can see why.
Definitely so. And Raj, we'll cap off this bit now. Is there anything else you wanted to add that you think we haven't said, or do you agree with everything we've said so far?
No, I think it was a good 3 points. It was going to be a very, very tough week, as we're about to discuss in a minute. But it was a good way to start the week. But sadly, we then went on to Bournemouth.
Indeed. And we'll continue on to our other game, which was a 3-3 draw away to Bournemouth. There's plenty to get stuck into here. So, Andrew, what do you make of being 3-0 down in the 60th minute to Bournemouth? I mean, what were your thoughts at that point?
Yeah, no, I was absolutely livid when I saw it was free. Well, when the third goal hit in, it was just, it was tragic. We've been playing poor. I thought Bournemouth were the better side for most of the game. I get, there were certain players like, the Xhaka penalty was obviously dumb. Bellerin is being pushed off the ball far too easily. I mean, there is an argument, if you want to be slightly biased, that the push on Bellerin in the build-up when he was pushed over was akin to Xhaka being, Xhaka's push. But Bellerin for the first goal, he's nowhere. And then they've been Gosling's opportunity. They're hammering us. Going down 3-0 to Bournemouth after we've had we've beat West Brom a few weeks ago. We beat Palace. This is the time where we need to start kicking on. There's been so many times this season where we haven't played. I'd say we've only played good football once this year against Chelsea. That's the only time Arsenal have been Arsenal. And then ever since then, we kind of keep stop-starting, dropping points. And then, we get these comebacks where Giroud scores in the last minute against Man U, or we had that goal where Cazorla scored against Southampton at the start of the season in the 93rd. And people keep saying, could this be the spark that's going to bring Arsenal season back together? And it doesn't. We just keep stopping, and it's just, again, we've just gone to a team and we fucked up. I don't know. We're talking about we haven't had that much rest, and perhaps we've had 1 day less rest than Bournemouth. But fuck me, you look at the size of our revenue, look at the strength of our squad. We should be we shouldn't be going down 3-0 at Bournemouth. There's something not right there. The team's shouting at each other. They're not linking up well. I didn't think Iwobi played well. I thought Ramsey was poor. It was just a shit show. And how we can't get ourselves G'd up, how we can go 3-0 down, it's just beyond me. Mustafi's come back in the team, and we didn't look any stronger for it. Czech again has had a poor game. It just wasn't good enough whatsoever. And is it Wenger's fault? Is it the players' fault? It doesn't really matter. It was a complete shit show, and we shouldn't be going down 3-0 at that stage.
No, definitely not. And we will try and break down the goals in a second. But I know Raj and Jimmy want to come in. So, Raj?
No, I just want to ask Fife. I mean, we played Palace, and then 2 days later we played Bournemouth. We only made 3 changes between the two teams. I mean, why do you think we're not rotating as much as we should be?
I mean, that's an interesting one, because if you speak to Jason Davis, he's adamant we're rotating too much, isn't he? He thinks that Wenger's, midfield selections are wild, and he's upset that we haven't. I guess, obviously, I'm not sure. So I would have expected to see a bit more rotation. I wanted to have seen a bit more of Lucas over the period. Wenger's, I mean, his central midfield's been erratic, but honestly, I can't tell you, Raj.
No. And Jimmy?
I sort of disagree a little bit, Fife, just because I think that potentially we should be a bit more respectful of the Premier League there. I am of the opinion, very much so, that if you are not on your game in this league, you will get punished. And I think every single team in the top of the league has been privy to that so far. I think Pep Guardiola's probably had the biggest wake-up call of his footballing managerial career so far. And we had a team that I thought was tactically slightly inept from Wenger, and I'm a very big Wenger fan. And it showed, and we weren't at the races, and we thought that we could go there maybe on a midweek game and sort of get over the line, putting 60% in, which I don't understand really, because he can rest a lot of people for Preston this coming weekend and then has a week off before we go away to Swansea. But for the first 60 minutes, we didn't apply ourselves whatsoever, and I was happy that we were 3-0 down, because it should have been 4 or 5. We were poor, and Czech made quite a big save, and Bellerin and Mustafi, who I haven't really seen get any critique really, Mustafi was shocking. That was the worst game I've seen him play for Arsenal. And for a £35 million centre back, he looked like he was worth £3.50. But we scrambled a point, and fortunately enough, sort of class prevailed in the last 30 minutes. And had the game been 5 minutes longer, we probably would have nicked 3 points. And there is some sort of mental resolve there that we're nicking points when in years gone by we would have definitely not. But some respect has to be given to Bournemouth, because they played us off the park, and Eddie Howe obviously knows how to put a side together, and they put us over their knee for 60 minutes. But it wasn't just because we were poor; it was because they were very good.
No, definitely so. I do agree with you there, Jimmy. We will stick with you now, Jimmy. We'll try and break down these goals. So, are we all in agreement that Bellerin was at fault for the first goal? I mean, the boy had a shocker. But from what I can remember, the last game that he had that was a real bad one like this was against Dortmund away a couple of years back. So one bad game in 2 years, you can't really complain at that. So in a bid to stick with our players, like we've mentioned earlier in the podcast, you can't be too angry. But Jimmy, agree, Bellerin at first, fault for the first?
Yeah, I think Bellerin at fault, but also when we played amateur football ourselves or watch professional football from the stand, you always think communication must be key at the top level. And when you see it from that sort of aerial view, Czech and Mustafi nor Bellerin have used any of their peripheral vision. Bellerin has got so tight to Mustafi, and Charlie Daniels has been left 35, 40 yards. I don't know. I can't remember who was playing right side, but the winger playing right side's not tracked back whatsoever to offer any support on the overlap. And Bellerin, as we know, is completely rapid. But I mean, you're never going to make up 40 yards in the space of a split second. And Czech probably as well was. His positioning was poor on the first goal. It wasn't so much just Bellerin. It was just really, really tacky from a team perspective on the first goal, in my opinion.
And Raj, over to you for the second one, which was a penalty. Obviously, it was a penalty. Not much we can talk about there. But the actual incident that caused that penalty, which was Xhaka bringing down Fraser. Your eyes, was it a penalty?
Oh, absolutely. He was clumsy. All Xhaka had to do is just kind of literally like shepherd him away from the penalty area. Just keep tracking with him and let the ball go away from him. But he had to shove him in the penalty area. It was definitely a penalty. And this is one of the things that worries me about Xhaka sometimes is he can be a bit kind of impulsive. And it was deserved penalty, basically. And we deserve what we got. I mean, 2-0 down with more to come.
I mean, we've seen Xhaka do this kind of thing before in recent memory. Swansea against Barrow, wasn't it? Where it was like the player got away from him. Why did you do that? Why did you even do that? But yeah, no, I think I probably agree with you on the second one. And saying that, Raj, if that is a stonewall penalty for you, surely, Danny, Fraser bundled over Bellerin for the third. Is that not, like Andrew said, akin to the Xhaka incident?
I think it's a little less foully than the Xhaka one.
Foully? Is that even a word? Foul.
Yes. I've just looked it up on Wikipedia. Word. It means a chicken fouling a chicken, so it's double foully. Yeah, but I'm just thinking that over, Ned, and we were talking about this on the radio show that we did the other day. It was me, John, and the real Josh, not the fake Josh. And I said that I thought it would have been a penalty. If the first one was a penalty, then that was. But I think John said, no, it wasn't. I said, come on, John, put your Arsenal hat on. He went, yeah, it is. But partly, I think John did make the point that Bellerin did kind of go down pretty easy, didn't he? I mean, in a position like that, you can't let the was it Bellerin that he pushed out of the way? Yeah, of course did. He pushed Bellerin out of the way, and then he crossed it, and then the person tucked it underneath Czech. God, I wondered if
he turned Bellerin and then he put the between Czech's legs.
Yeah, so tucked it underneath Czech. That's what I just said.
No, you said he passed to someone else who then
did he?
Put it.
Did I?
Yeah.
I don't even know what I said, and I'll listen back to this, and I
Oh,
probably have no idea.
It's wasted broadcast time.
It's all gone. It's all gone wonky. But yeah, the point still stands that was a shove on Bellerin. We were discussing. I thought the advantage went to the defender, and then I know sometimes it's the advantage goes to the striker, but I just think the advantage goes to whoever's playing Arsenal in situations like that, because that's the way it feels. Like I know everyone's scouting and screaming, "Oh, we're 3-0 down," but that goal should have been stopped there. And the penalty was, well, I don't know, I've been an Arsenal fan. It's never a penalty. So we should have, by all rights, won that game 3-1. Actually, it should have been 5-1 because we should have scored 2 late on. So there you go. I'm having it as a moral 5-1 victory. Is that right with you?
Challenge yourself that. Yeah. When have we won the league yet?
Yes. 10 years in a row.
Fantastic. Do you know we've conceded 6 penalties this season, which is the second highest in the league, only behind Hull, who I think have conceded 9 or 10 maybe.
And Czech has saved none, and 5 of them have been scored, apparently, according to Josh, who is a Czech hater.
And Andrew, you pipe up. You have comparisons with a game at Liverpool, don't you? If you'd like to close this off.
Yeah, I mean, trying to bring a little bit of positivity to it all. You know, last year it was roughly this time last year we were, winning up at Anfield, and then obviously Joe Allen stole the points from us as Liverpool seemed to do in the dying seconds. And obviously, the fans had an absolute meltdown after that game, and probably quite rightly we were on a terrible run of form. But we were distraught after that, and it did feel like our title chances were slipping away. Leicester were running ahead of us, and so conversely this year to come back from 3-0 and even greater, this is Istanbul levels of if we're talking about Liverpool, this is Istanbul levels of comeback. We've done very well there, and there should be an element of positivity around it. I just really hope now, and I know I said it earlier, and I know I said it's not happened yet, and we do keep coming up with these bullshit mantras about how we need to kick on from this, but this really now has to be the rocket up the arse. Now that Chelsea's winning run has been undone by Spurs of all teams, hopefully we're going to see them drop off a little bit slightly. Hopefully that will affect that confidence they built up. But, we can't be going, and as Jimmy says, he's right. If you're not at the races, you will get hit by the Premiership teams. And I think what infuriated the fans was that they weren't at the races for the first 60 minutes. And this is with the squad we have now and the ability, they shouldn't be going 3-0 down to Bournemouth, or they shouldn't be putting themselves in that position. And we quite easily could have been further down. Gosling missed a sitter. Even after we scored the third, Bournemouth had the last good chance of the game. So we should take positive from that we have got that comeback. And I can't remember whether it was Raj made the point earlier that these are the kind of games that 3-0 down we would have capitulated beforehand. There's no way we'd got these points back. So let's take the positive in that. And maybe prove me wrong, and let's go and actually build on this for now and do make something from it.
Yeah, definitely so. And just to sidetrack you there, Danny's just put in the group, Bellerin's Alice band, for fuck's sake, needs mentioning. Jimmy, your thoughts on the Ellis Bandit was tragic, wasn't it?
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
We've sunk to new lows now. I'll carry on. We could pick many players out that were awful in that game. I mean, where do you start? I think for performances over the course of the season, I think a great place to start would be Aaron Ramsey. Why is he great for country but bang average for club, Raj? I mean, you must see problems with him.
I think we mentioned it earlier on. He's very sensitive, I find, and if there's pressure put on him by press, media, fans, or whatever, he kind of caves. He's got a month now with I think Xhaka now in the midfield. I think he's going to get a few games now with Coquelin out, so he's going to have to prove to everyone that he's as good as we all think he is. But he is getting a lot of criticism from fans, and a lot of fans have written him off and want to sell him and stuff like that. I'm not that person myself, but I haven't seen much of him this year, and he needs to really step up to the plate. As we said, you're trying to find positives out of this game, and fair enough, if you want to find positives, fine. But as Five says, we've got to kick on. I'm convinced there's 6 teams playing for top 4 this year. Absolutely convinced. People have already still written off Man United, even though they're only a point behind us. And we've got to get this sorted now over the next few games, because our run-in at the end of this season is a lot tougher than it has been over the last 2 or 3 years. We've got to play United at home, Tottenham away. Tottenham away at the end of the season could well be a cup final for us. So with Aaron, he's got his chance coming up. With so many injuries now, he's going to get a few games, and he's going to have to show us and actually prove to himself that he's as good as we think he is.
Yeah, we'll get to a bloody cup final.
I tell you what, it'll be interesting. Sorry to interrupt though, how he's going to play with Xhaka, because, and the only reason I say it is obviously, for me, Ramsey's best position is in that box-to-box position. He's a slightly different to Kafala. But when we first bought Xhaka in the summer, Wenger said to us that Xhaka was a box-to-box midfielder. And he's now kind of changed his mind. And when he plays with Coquelin, he makes Coquelin advance further up the pitch than Xhaka. And he's kind of admitted that he was wrong on that, and that Xhaka's now more of a defensive midfielder. So clearly, with that defensive capability of Xhaka, hopefully it should allow Ramsey to roam further at the pitch, where he's much more effective in my mind. So I do think we could see the best of him. And to your initial question, why is he better for country than club? I do think sometimes he does have a tendency to try things that he can't necessarily do, or he takes a little bit long on the ball, and I think you can get away with it. International football tends to be a little bit slower. Clubs, players don't play with each other as often, so sometimes the standard or the understanding between midfields is less there, so you get a little bit more time on the ball. But I think with Xhaka behind him, giving him some solidarity, it will allow him to that confidence that he can pull some of this stuff off, and hopefully he'll be much better than he is when he plays with Coquelin, because he's those two don't really link up as well as you'd like them to. But I think that there could be some quite interesting there.
Yeah, and definitely, and I think he's definitely got to step it up, very much like the club, because as we've already said on this podcast, Jack Wilshere is away at Bournemouth, getting 90 minutes of football every single week, and he seems to be doing really well. So, Shu could be on the other foot next year, and it could be Ramsey having to go out on loan. Who knows? Football is a crazy game. Jimmy, I know you wanted to come in on Ramsey, so fire away.
Well, I think that's a really good point, Gim, actually. Just before we go on Ramsey, I would pay Bournemouth the money to release Wilshere from his loan now. And there's a couple of reasons as to why. I think Arsenal's football have changed this year, and it has highlighted the problem in Aaron Ramsey's game. I think just talking on that point that Fife just mentioned about Ramsey at international level, with no disrespect whatsoever to Wales, and I hope Davies doesn't taunt me for this, but Ramsey and Bale are a million miles above the standard of the remainder of that squad, and have carried them to where they've got to in their international football of recent times, Bale especially. So you're talking about a good footballer in an okay team, where he's highlighted as an exceptional player at Wales, where he is an okay to good player on his day in a team that is perceived as very good at Arsenal. So he's not one of the better players there when he's not. He has flashes of brilliance again, where he does things that are untold, like that sort of like that flick goal against Spurs last year was sensational. But he has flaws in his game. His distribution, to me, is nowhere near the standard for a Premiership footballer. I think he makes so many unforced errors, especially for a playing football team like Arsenal. It is so noticeable. He needs a lot more of a touch on the ball than most other players. I think one thing that Wenger's really moved at Arsenal this year with Sanchez through the middle was the transition from back to front, which was when we knew Arsenal in title-winning sides used to be rapid, and they moved the ball from back to front now, like in 13 seconds with Giroud's most recent goal. Ramsey would never be involved in a move that would move the ball that quickly back to front because he likes multiple touches on the ball before he makes his pass or his next move, whereby Wilshere's sort of dynamic side of his game that we know when he's all singing and dancing is very much about momentum from back to front. So his style of football, in my opinion, would probably actually suit Arsenal a lot more at the moment, more so than Aaron Ramsey's. I don't know what you boys think.
I think that's very, very hard to argue, to be honest with you, Jimmy.
Spot on.
Yeah. Right then, we've talked about the misery, so let's talk about the fight back. And the fight back came through Alexis Sanchez and a wonderful dive-in header. Danny, your thoughts on the goal?
That would have been the one where they crossed it and Sanchez scored, yeah?
Yeah, he flung his head
I
at
thought
it.
it's fantastic. How the hell that Sanchez, Giroud was going to get the assist for that. He just went all Quasimodo, it hit him in the hump, and Sanchez went, I'll have a slice of that, jumped up, nodded it in. That's the kind of thing that most of the Arsenal players that day would have missed. But Sanchez is such a perfectionist and such a fantastic player. It was brilliant to see him score. And he did what all players should do the moment you score, pick the ball up, run back to the halfway line. There you go. I've said it.
We are getting to it. We are getting to it.
I wouldn't be surprised if you were. It's really, really good to see. And it's fantastic ball from Bellerin, wasn't it? Who crossed it?
I believe so.
Which is something we've missed on the right hand.
No, it was the Ox.
Was it? Oh, of course it was. Yes. They zoomed in on him as he did it. Yes, because that's why I like having the Ox there, because when he came on in the previous game, he did that, and in the last game when Bellerin made his comeback, Bellerin made a brilliant cross like that from about 3/4 of the way down the pitch, and then that's why I love seeing the Ox and
thinking of.
Yeah, Ox and Bellerin playing together on that side. I think there's just so much productivity coming from there. Maybe not as much defensive work as we'd like to see, but yeah, it's fantastic for Sanchez to get that. And I think he jumped a full 2 inches off the floor, which is the highest he's ever jumped.
And
what are you laughing at? You could only dream of jumping 2 inches off the floor.
I'm only 2 foot fuck all.
Oh, Jesus, it's horrendous.
I know it is. Raj, Lucas Perez, lovely volley, took his goal well. Jimmy said before we pushed the record button on this that he should be getting more games and he should be getting more time. His performances over the holiday period, he's impressed me. I can't say more than that. Your thoughts on him?
He's impressed me for the whole season. Hopefully Danny's hurriedly getting his stats together for maybe by the time I finish speaking. But I thought his goal was more than just lovely. I thought it was fabulous. And in a week where we had the scorpion kick, it's probably been overshadowed by it quite a lot. But
whose stats do you want?
Well, just Lucas, how many goals he's scored and how many appearances and all that kind of stuff.
He's had 12 games, 6 goals, 3 assists, and he's come on 6 times and he's gone off 3 times, and he's played a total of 577 minutes. And what's that one? PPM. Doesn't know what PPM stands for. Come on.
He's earned his wages then, and I think Mr. Slate is very, very correct in that he needs more game time, and we need to use him a lot more over the next few months. I just think he's a very good player. His goal was fantastic, and he's going to carry on scoring goals if we give him the chance. And we shouldn't rely entirely on Olivier to come in all the time. I think Lucas is ready to take that role up and give him some game time, and he will score more goals. He's a very, very good player.
Where would you play him though? Because he can play any one of the front 4 positions, can't he? Where would you like to see him play?
He's quite good down the line, isn't he? I mean, he does whip those crosses in as well. I mean, he doesn't stay in one position for very long. He kind of gets stuck in everywhere. We've got to work it out. Arsene Wenger's got to work out how to utilise him more. What do you think, Fife?
Well, I think he's been very effective on the right, but then at the same time, when Theo's fully fit, Theo's having such a good season, you can't really drop him. I think, I'd quite like to see him play on the left for a little bit. I think the points he made, Iwobi, he's had some very good games lately, but I think Iwobi's he had a run of about 9 or 10 games where he was pretty poor, and I think it's probably because he's been overplayed slightly, Iwobi, and he's still very young. And I don't want to see him overplayed, so I'd quite like to see him get a bit of game time there. Obviously, we've got Welbeck coming back as well, which is going to be a bit of competition. But I'd quite like to see him start on the left. and hopefully it wouldn't leave Monreal too exposed. But yeah, no, I think he's done very well. His technique is lovely. And I said back in the summer, I was saying all I want for I don't want Arsenal to spend stupid money on Lacazette. Let's go spend about 20 million on a striker. So that all summer, let's spend 20 million on a striker. A bit of a gamble, and let's see how it pays off. And he's not Thierry Henry just yet, but I think you give him some time. People are getting on his back really early this season because there was one game in the Carling Cup where he could have done it better, but it's a very good prospect we got there, and I'm glad we didn't take the risk of spending 40-60 million on Lacazette, and we've gone for him, and I think now we should get behind him.
And I don't think anyone should be having a go at him. He's had you just heard the stats. He's had a stop-start season. He wants to play in every game like everyone else wants to.
Yeah.
He's kept his mouth shut. He's enjoying his time at Arsenal, and to give him a hard time is ridiculous. You just heard the stats. No. I mean,
I know. 100% agree.
He does what we ask him to do when he gets a game. All I'm saying is he should get more games.
He's also scored. He's also scored already more goals this season in all competitions than Joe Campbell did last season.
There you go.
But let's not forget as well, it's not just the scoring goals and the assists. He was the one that won the ball back against Crystal Palace to set up that amazing move for Giroud's goal. So, like you said, Raj, he gets about. He's got a good engine. Right then, what should we do now? Does he? Of course, we've mentioned that. We should mention a little bit about the Bournemouth red card. Just a quick yes and no from everybody. Was it a red card? Yes or no, Danny? Jimmy?
I don't know. It was messy, wasn't it? I probably would like to say yes. Actually, he makes a hash of it. He looks like he gets off the ground a bit. I don't know. This whole thing about how off in the air you need to be completely baffles me. But he looks like he's off the ground with 2 feet, or sort of one's very closely trailing by. But he misses the ball completely, and he toasts the player. So it's a really sloppy tackle. And if you're giving yellow cards for shoves in the back and for keepers that waste time, then it's a considerably higher level of how foul play it is. So it's on the periphery, but a red card probably is the right decision.
Okay, fair enough, Raj.
Oliver interpreted the rules correctly. I mean, so he gave it a red card, which is correct, but I thought it was a little bit harsh, to be quite honest. I thought Oliver had a pretty decent game actually that night as well. But no, I would not have given a red card.
And finally, Andrew?
No, for me, I think I agree with Raj. I mean, I'm agree with you both of them, but I think it was harsh. You look at the Fenguli red card for West Ham, that's been rescinded, and could you say that it wasn't even as bad as that tackle? You look at the red card we got. Remember Matthew Flamini's 2-footed launch tackle we got away with down there last season. If that wasn't given anything, I think it'd be hard to try and tell a Bournemouth fan that they deserve to go down to 10 that night. But oh well.
Yes. And finally, Giroud headed home the equaliser, and we got the draw. Now, this is not only controversial for a few different things, so we'll start with the actual celebration. We spoke about this before the podcast went live again, and I think a few of us disagreed. Now, for me, I can't see a problem with the celebration, but Danny, you think differently, don't you?
I mean, like Jimmy said before we started recording, he didn't even notice the celebration. I had no idea about the celebration because I was going, "Way, excellent 3-3." But when you look back at it, if I was being a footballer and I just got the ball back and just scored a goal and it was 3-3, and we had about 3 or 4 minutes of injury time added on, I'd have picked that ball up and I'd have wheeled back to the centre line as quick as possible and then started the game as soon as possible, because that could make all the difference. I doubt very much that the referee did add the extra. I think it's been timed at 12 seconds. Added that 12 seconds back on, but I think the celebration was a bit cringy. It was a bit stupid. I didn't like it, but he's allowed to do stuff like that. But it's a little bit unprofessional. Like someone used to shout at us, "Be more professional, you fucks!"
But do you not think it's just like
at the screen?
But do you not think it's an excuse from some of our fans? It's like, I know it wasn't a great game. Yes, we picked up a point. Fucking just shut up. This is like, Jimmy, you're not on Twitter anymore for this exact reason, because some of our fans are idiots. But it's just
not worth slating him over, but he should have run back. If it's the winner, fair enough, you do it. But the equaliser, don't do it for an equaliser. And if you are going to do it, at least practice it beforehand and don't look like you're about to have some kind of fucking fit.
Raj, thoughts?
I mean, firstly, I didn't notice it at all. But secondly, I mean, in the cold light of day, you could say, yeah, well, he should have picked the ball up, like Danny says, and run back and everything. But, you know, we're all celebrating the equaliser because we've been watching this game and 3-0 down, and all of a sudden it's 3-3, and I'm jumping up and down and everything. Why isn't the player allowed to do that? So if he's scored an equaliser in a dramatic game, I can't see the problem with him celebrating it. You know, so, you know, in the heat of the moment, you can't help doing these kind of things. And I don't think it's a huge issue, although some of our fans need to get a bit of a life on Twitter and stop talking about it, to be quite honest.
And Andrew, to finish us off on Giroud celebrating.
I love finishing you off. I agree with Raj. Listen, I would much rather he picked the ball up and ran back to the halfway line, of course. But that is with hindsight. You know, I honestly I don't care that much. I think he took 7 or 8 seconds. The referee didn't add them on, by the way. The referee blew up with about 10 seconds to go, strangely. But, I mean, does it matter that much? As I mentioned earlier, remember how gutted we were when Liverpool put the third past us last season and we drew 3-3. You know, for us to be the ones administering that pain for once, you know. And as we were saying earlier, we need to stop getting on Giroud's back. This is a guy who he's pretty much, you know, he's a confidence player. He needs to be full of confidence, or he needs to be cheered up. And for him, you know, the form he's on, I think his celebration was more. There was a bit of narcissism about it, but you expect that from your strikers, and it was a celebration of that was his goal. You could see, you know, I didn't really like the scorpion bit, but that's who he is. If he's geared up and he's going to carry on this vein of form, and he's got that gusto behind him, and he's got that bit of aplomb, then honestly, I don't care that much. I'd rather see Giroud with his tail up, because I know the Giroud with his tail down isn't one who's going to get into our team. So honestly, I'm not that bothered. And I think as soon as he did see other players start screaming at him to get back, you know, he was running back to the halfway line before Gabriel behind him. You know, as soon as he realises what had happened, he was back into it. So he had a momentary blip, but I think in that situation we all would have.
Yeah, I agree. Unfortunately, Fife, you haven't finished me off. There is one final topic, and we'll keep it quick. We'll go to you, Jimmy. Sanchez clearly frustrated at the final whistle. I think Sky had highlighted him chucking his gloves down, maybe cunting off a Bournemouth player and walking straight down the tunnel. Not a happy chappy. What can you see as his frustrations?
Sanchez is just like the most competitive beast that we've had in years and years. So I mean, he walks down the tunnel after a brace and we win 3-4-0. He goes down the tunnel. He doesn't really engage the fans on the best days, nor does he do it on the worst days. So I read nothing into that. I think Wenger silenced the media pretty quickly when he says, you know, the guy literally wants to win in every single game he plays. The fact that we've not won the game has frustrated him. So he's walked off at the end. He's thrown his gloves down in frustration because we've dropped points. I think if everybody had his attitude, actually, maybe we'd win a lot more games. But I read nothing into that. I read nothing into the Giroud celebration. It's football. You know, let's just move on.
Wonderful. That closes the talk on the two games. I've got a little bit here that I've put myself regarding some Arsene Wenger comments today in the media. The transfer window. Arsene Wenger's come out today and said he's more focused on bringing back Welbeck and Cazorla than buying in new players. Is this our same loser mentality rearing its ugly head? And why won't we strengthen when all around us will? Raj, some interesting comments there from the boss. What are your thoughts on them?
Well, I kind of agree with him, to be quite honest. Funny enough, I'm not his biggest fan at the moment, to be quite in reality. But I don't think we need to be buying players left, right, and centre. I don't think many other teams will, maybe a couple. But I think he's right. We need to get these injured players back into the squad, because there's no point adding more players in when other players are going to come back over the next 2 or 3 weeks. I personally think the squad that we've got at the moment, if they were all fit, are good enough to win the Premier League. They won't, but they're good enough.
Fair enough. And there's just a few bullet points for this one. Each of you get a question.
Sorry. Can I just say on that one point, and I agree with Raj, that in January it's going to be much harder to buy players of the quality of Cazorla and Welbeck than it is to bring them back into the team.
Okay. Right, Andrew, we'll stick with you then. Judging, looking at the current team, what do you think we need if we had to go out and buy?
I mean, it's a tough. for quite some time now, I have said, I said in all summer we need more wingers. I don't think we've got enough quality on the wing. And I know Theo's kind of had a really good season, but I do think Iwobi has been very, very hit and miss. And that's not me having a go at him. He's a very young kid still. And he's got, he's one of the most talented youngsters I've seen. But I have seen him go and, have 4 or 5 poor games in a row and kind of 8 out of 10 poor games. And I do think we need to strengthen up that side. And I'm not blaming him. He's young, but I do think we overplayed him somewhat. There might be too much expectation. He is naturally a number 10, not a left winger. And so to play him so many games out of position, I would have liked to have seen a bit more there. Obviously, combining that with Lucas just coming in, perhaps I'd like to see another left winger. It depends, what his plans are with Welbeck and with Lucas, whether he's going to play them more down that side. I do want to see something a little bit more there, and whether so if we were going to make a signing, maybe that position. But again, are we really going to buy someone of the quality that we want in January? We want someone of the quality of Marco Reus there, and that's just not going to happen, is it? So, realistically, that's where I'd like to see a bit of strengthening. But I think our best option is going to be Welbeck or Lucas there.
Mm. And Jimmy, your question, where will we finish if we don't spend in January?
I don't think we'd finish anywhere differently if we do spend. I think getting Cazorla and Welbeck back would be great. I think our squad, what he added in the summer, I know, Jim, you and I spoke a lot in the summer and we were flabbergasted by the fact he spent 100 million. So I think we should still, celebrate off of the back of that. But I still think that there's an opportunity for us to finish second or third like last year. I just think that Chelsea and Liverpool having no European football is really, really showing at the moment because they look so much fresher in games than we do, and maybe even Man City do. So I think second or third would. I know people are going to hate the fact that it's another top 4 without the trophy, but both those teams should play Champions League football next year. So hopefully the tide would obviously be a bit more equal. But I think second or third would be a good finish and is very, very sort of we've got a good opportunity to do it as well.
Another quick question, which I've just thought that I wanted to ask you myself. If we don't finish, or if we finish lower than second, do you think we've gone backwards?
No, because I think the league has severely moved on this year with the quality of management that's come into it. Mourinho's gone to United, albeit he's an utter twat. He's a very good football manager. Seems that Conte's really found his feet at Chelsea now after moving over from Italy. Guardiola is having trouble sometimes at City, but the class is there. Pochettino, to be fair to him, seems like he does an extremely good job at the ship. And Klopp's an exceptional manager as well. So albeit, like Raj said, Wenger isn't my favourite person at the moment, albeit I'm a very big sort of fan of his. He's in very, very, very good quality company, and he's holding his own, bar one horrible week in December. So yeah, I think top 4 will be parity with, because I think a lot of people generally did think that this would be the year that we would be pushed out of it.
Danny, the final question to you.
Lovely.
Do you actually expect him to spend any money?
Well, we have.
Well, but that's.
I mean, 40 grand.
He's not going to go in the first team, is he?
In the day of George Graham, that'd have got you 4/5 of a Perry Groves.
Oh, it would indeed. But
yeah.
we're all about the here and now. Someone that's going to come in and change the team, or at least play games. That kid isn't going to play games.
Oi, how dare you? Perry did. Come from 4th tier Colchester. Followed Ian Allinson.
Times have changed.
The moustache. No, they haven't. Well, my waistline has. I agree with Raj 100%. If you went and got every single player we've got, and you broke our team down into the 11 positions that we play, because we have 11. No, actually, we have 10 separate positions because centre backs are both the same. So you mark in those 10 boxes every player that can play in that position. So Perez goes in all 4 of the front ones. Sanchez all 4 of the front ones. Walcott can go as a striker. Blah blah. You know what I'm on about. We don't need any players. We've got so many young players coming through. What Wenger does need to do, I asked John this earlier, and I said, John, put me right on our midfield. Who is the best going forward out of the defensive ones? And he said, the best one going forward with the passing ability is going to be Xhaka. The best tackler is Coquelin, and the most creative one is going to be Xhaka out of the defensive ones, because we've got 3 defensive and we've got 2. We've got Ramsey and Santi, the other 2. So I was making the point: why is he making Coquelin as the one that goes forward when Coquelin's the best defender, and why is he doing the other thing with Xhaka? And nobody seems to know. That's what we need to sort out. But he's not going to do it, is he? He's got it into his tiny little head that Coquelin is the man to go forward, and he ends up looking like a clown because he can only pass sideways properly most of the time, and this is driving Steve nuts. We don't want Steve to be driven nuts, so it needs to stop. So he needs to realise that you only play one player who can defend in the centre of the park, and you play one player who can pass and create in the centre of the park. That's the way football has been since day one, and that's what we need to do. But back in the day, I do know that he played Vieira and Petit, which were both defense midfielders that can defend. Because I know people get annoyed if you say defensive midfielders or box to box. Nah, bollocks. One creates, one defends.
I'm so glad you said clown.
Yes.
Don't ask me what I thought you were going to say, because it's similar.
I don't use any C words, not on this. So yes, what was the question? I've forgotten already. I'm watching the football and playing with silly putty.
Clearly, it's not.
No, he won't. We don't need. Not only will he not, but we don't need to. And the fact that Jimmy just said, "Oh, we spent £100 million in the summer," that's amazing. Until you realise that some Premier League clubs spend that on one player. And you watch this coming summer with China now offering £400,000-600,000 a week. Premier League players are no longer, top players in the world are no longer going to be satisfied with a couple of £100,000 a week. So it's going to cost us double the amount of money in transfer fees and 2 or 3 times what most of our players are on for top players for wages. So either way, we need the money for the summer.
Right. Now then, we go over to you. Oh, no, actually, there is one more thing I have to do just quickly.
Yeah.
And that's Arsenal happiness.
Oh, your special thing that you invented.
Yes, Arsenal happiness. Danny, rating on 10, you can have a 7.2, 8.4, whatever. What is your Arsenal happiness rating this week?
This week, if I go from the New Year's Day to now, well, over the whole of Christmas, we've had 7 points from 3 games, which isn't bad. If you look at that as a general as a general span over any 3 games in a season, that's not bad. We've scored 6 goals, had 2 clean sheets. I'm going to have to give it and we've had a magnificent comeback, although we shouldn't have been in that position, but I'm going to give it a 9.1.
What?
9.1.
9.1?
Yeah, we've had 7 points. 2 clean sheets, people. That's what we've been moaning about.
You're blinded by a couple of days of...
I was going to be like 7.2.
It's for this week. It's for this week, isn't it? It's not for the whole season.
Yes, for this week.
Yeah, for the whole season, I'd give it about a 7.
7?
7?
7?
7?
I'll better ask Raj, because he's going to fucking explode.
5.
What, for everything?
What, for the season? Or for the week?
You like. Overall, I'm...
Whatever you like. We had 7 clean
5 out of
sheets
10.
in 8 games.
Yeah, you guys are too acceptable of mediocrity. Honestly, we could do much better. As I said earlier on, this squad could quite easily win the Premier League.
All right, take your baseball cap off and stop recording yourself. You sound like someone.
This is what happens when you draw the profiteroles from him. He's had cheese and biscuits. He's just not the same. His glycemic levels have dropped.
I'm overdosing on Stilton at the moment.
So Raj, what was your official answer for how happy have Arsenal made you this week?
7.
7.
7?
Yeah. 7?
9.1.
9.1? 9.1.
Yeah, that is mad.
Oh, it's dummy.
This week, having a 7, overall 6. I think, Raj has got some fair points there this season. Yeah, I do think we went on a run where we didn't lose, but that kind of overshadowed the fact we didn't play good football for a lot of that. We played very good football against Chelsea at home, where it's probably the best I've seen Arsenal play at the Emirates, in honesty. But we lost at home on the opening day to Liverpool. We lost away to Man U. We lost away to Man City. We got a point at Man U, but we were terrible that day. We lost away at Everton. We've had some terrible games, where we've not played good football, and I was hoping we were going to kick on, and with the investment we made, we were so disappointing last season. We don't seem to be playing any better, or there doesn't seem to be that much urgency more than what there was last year.
Okay, Jimmy.
Well, based on Danny's facts over the week, I probably would. The week's probably a 7.5, 8, isn't it? 7 points from from 9 is very strong, and probably based on those averages, you'd probably run the league very close, wouldn't you, if you took 7 from every 9? But I think the season as a general probably is 6.5. I was really optimistic and just thought we were motoring, and then December's just really taken the jam out of my donut, really.
Definitely so.
That's why you always have custard in your donut, not fucking jam. Jam goes on toast, dirty bastards.
You have heroin in yours, don't you?
So Moorish.
I think I'm probably at a 7.2. I think it's fantastic, Lucas Perez, and how he's playing. I think the strength in depth is fantastic in the squad. Like we've already alluded to, there are players that can play across the front three. Really, it was just the first half against Bournemouth that's really boiled my piss this week. So if you consider that as a quarter of a whole, then I'd say 7.2, 7.5. I'll go in the middle. I'll go 7.4.
You have 7.35 if you want.
No, we can't. No, we're not being anal like that.
No, that's
Jason's
too far.
Jason's not here. We can't go Browning this and that. So no. We're not going to do that. Danny, we've got about 15 minutes.
Yes.
To have the best of the Twitter questions. So
you can have all of them in that length of time.
Fucking do it. Hit me with them.
The wonderful Noma, who is probably if we had an award for the best question person of the season so far, it'd be her. She sent us an email now because you can go into more depth, so it's really good. She says, take off your Arsenal hat for a few minutes and answer me this. If you were a player looking to be really in the play for a major championship like the Premier League or the Champions League, would you come to Arsenal? Where would you place Arsenal on your teams you think you would like to go to win a championship? This is, remember, as you're a neutral player. And how do you propose that Arsenal could move up higher on your list? Gimli, what do you reckon? So you're this world-class player. Where do you put Arsenal in your rank of clubs you want to join if you have no affiliation to any club?
5th.
About 6th or 7th.
Oh, and what could Arsenal do to make you salivate at the opportunity?
We're a bit of a Dortmund, aren't we? We're always thereabouts.
Dortmund win stuff. They're progressive.
We've won FA Cups, Danny, in the last couple of years, so you can't say we don't win stuff.
I won third place in the bloody beanbag race.
Well, you've got let's put it like this: you've got Bayern Munich,
Roma,
Real Madrid.
Yeah, Roma.
Yeah, you've got Bayern Munich, Real Madrid. You've got Barcelona. Even Atletico Madrid.
I think she was referring to Premier League, though, wasn't she?
Or Champions League. Yeah. So yes.
Well, if it's Premier League,
yeah.
Okay, if it's Premier League, I'd say probably 4th or 5th.
5th.
4th or 5th.
Oh, Raj,
come on.
I'd say that's harsh.
Yeah, really harsh.
What's harsh about 5th? Chelsea, City, United above us.
Yeah, that's free.
And
who
Klopp
else?
is probably an attraction, so he'd probably go.
Well, he's not, is he, Raj? Because Sanchez picked us over Liverpool.
Yeah, but I bet he's fucking regretting it now.
What? Really?
Yeah.
Oh, classic Reverend.
He won a trophy at Arsenal, wasn't he?
Yeah, Klopp wasn't there at the time.
You got to let go of the FA Cup, Jimmy.
Why?
Because it's just the FA Cup. I'll promise you now, if Sanchez thinks that the FA Cup is the only trophy he's going to win at the Arsenal, he's off.
Right, that's it. I'm getting the popcorn. Bear with me.
Go on then, Jimmy. What's your answer?
I would probably say, like, if a person doesn't just think about trophies, but I definitely believe that, and I think Fife, from conversations I've had with him in the past, would maybe agree with me, that one more world-class player could be the icing on the Arsenal cake. So depending on the world-class quality that this young lady is referring to, then potentially that one player could make a significant difference. So I would say we're in the top 2 or 3. Capital city, beautiful stadium, still a well-desired manager, and a very competitive wage structure. So I would say that not a lot of people want to live in Manchester, and I'm sorry, but like every other club around us has finished out the top 5 in this period. So if they want guaranteed Champions League football, they have to look at us.
Yeah, but they've said to be successful to win the league or the Premier
League.
One player could make a difference. What more have you got to add to to that back five is extremely steady. You probably need to replace Coquelin if you need that player to go in next to Xhaka. And then the three in front of them are more than adequate. And, Danny, you didn't come back with the stats earlier, but I had a little look because I like a stat as well. Giroud's goal record is not a million miles behind some of the top strikers on the continent. So I think he averages 0.43 a game for Arsenal. So he's just under 1 in 2. And if Arsenal fans would spend £50 million on a player that scored 1 goal in 2 games without blinking. So you've got all of the assets there. Everyone this evening has talked about Arsenal having a squad more than capable of winning the Premier League. So one more world-class player maybe tips them the balance.
Yeah, that's a good argument. Mr. Fife, what's your thoughts?
I agree with that. I think if you looked at it now and you looked at teams with the likelihood of winning the league, I'd put us third after Chelsea and City, at the start of the season. Man, you have just been in such a transformation for so long. And I think realistically, if you look at Arsenal and Liverpool on paper, you'd go with Arsenal above them. I do think, as Jimmy says, we're not that far off. And I do think we need to give Mustafi and Mustafi and Xhaka a little bit more time to settle in. We haven't seen the best of Xhaka by any stretch so far. He still makes quite a few mistakes. He's still quite slow on the ball, and I do think he's going to come good. I do think that he's got a lot more to offer than he is right now, and so I am quite optimistic there. I am optimistic that Koscielny and Mustafi could build one of the strongest partnerships you've had in years, and so I do think maybe a new box-to-box player, someone who's going to replace Santi long term, and someone on that left wing who's going to contribute a significant number of goals. And we could be really onto a winning side. It's just, how do we get that mentality? How do we stop? We need to sort out, dropping form. We haven't really put together any run yet this season. I think we need to, look at that before, that's the key mechanics of the team isn't there at the minute. That's what we need to sort out. So maybe it's going to have to be someone who can come in, a leader in the middle of the park. I'm not sure if we can get that balance right. Then but we're still a little bit away from getting that team balance, in my opinion.
Gimli, did you answer it?
Yes.
What did you say?
I said 5th, and I'm reevaluating it.
Go on in.
I would still probably no. I mean, Pfeiffer's raised some really good points. If you'd have said to me at the start of the season, who do I think? I wouldn't have said Leicester was anywhere there. You always know that the Man City are going to be there, but I honestly wouldn't have given Chelsea a hope this year, really. I would say third or fourth.
Well, I agree with Raj 100%. I would never sign for Arsenal if I wanted to win the league, because Wenger is too stubborn with the way that he does stuff. Look at Xhaka, one of our most expensive players. It took him half a season to get in the team, and when he is in the team, he's not been played properly.
But you think how frustrated we are as fans in transfer windows? How would that be to a neutral?
And also, look how long Pogba got played in every game, and he was just absolutely pulled to pieces by everyone on social media for months because he was woeful. And
he wasn't playing in his best position, though, was he?
Yeah, but that's bullshit. He's a £90 million footballer. The guy should be able to play in fucking ballet shoes. He was
playing under Jose, though. And that's always.
Yeah, but he was playing in a midfield. He came to fucking Man United and told people his best position was left wing. That he was too busy sucking off Jesse Lingard and fucking about on YouTube. The guy, he has been bang average for his price tag. And I actually condone what Wenger did with Xhaka by blooding him in, because the results speak for themselves. The games that Xhaka wasn't playing in, we were winning. So bar the game against Liverpool at the start of the season where we had a completely depleted squad because he gives everyone their rest at that period, where other teams rest them later on. And we went on and started on a great run that you mentioned earlier, the clean sheets and the wins. But, he blooded Xhaka in against the right opposition, and everyone's... The problem was that he was playing so well, the occasions that Wenger was giving him. But look now, he's getting a consistent run in the team, and he sets Giroud up with a phenomenal cross that changes the game. But he also gives away a ludicrous penalty. So he's like Fife just said, he's still not the finished article because he's still finding his feet in a league that's significantly quicker than the Bundesliga.
Okay, well, as we've only got 7.5 minutes to get this done, I'll give everybody one question each. Raj, would you like one on Ramsey, or would you like one on the League Cup? The FA Cup.
I'll go on the FA Cup. Go on.
Or you had to pick a Spurs player. Which one do you want?
No, FA Cup. Go on.
All right, this is from same old Paul. Should we put out our best team available for the FA Cup, or go with the youngsters like Jeff, Apcom, and he spelt it right there, Apcom, and some senior members? And he predicts Preston 1, Arsenal 4. By the way, so we might use his as the listener's prediction.
I think on Saturday you'll see a bit of both, really. I think we'll put our team a bit strong enough to beat Preston, but yeah, you'll probably see Adelaide. You might even see Apcom or I don't know. Apcom.
Sake, not you as well.
I can't. Apcom, is it? I can't. You'll see them. You'll see.
Fucking Apcom.
You'll see some of our bench playing on Saturday. I've got no worries. I always love the FA Cup, so I'm really looking forward to it.
Are you fucking contagious?
Akpom.
I had someone else doing that, and I think it might have been the Gooners in the USA podcast. They couldn't remember which way round it goes now either.
How can you love the FA Cup, Raj? You just took the piss out of it, for fuck's sake.
What
well, he's Raj. He's allowed to.
You're saying Alexis is happy because he won the FA Cup at Arsenal. I'm saying he ain't.
I'm pulling your fucking drumstick, you muppet.
No, I'm just saying.
You're lucky he's in a food coma, or he'd come out and sit on you.
No, right. Behave.
Next one for Gimli. You can either have Ramsey, a Spurs player, or a bit about... I don't actually know. I'm going to say the Perez one first.
If I'm the Spurs player, you can fuck right off.
Do you want Ramsey or Spurs? Which one do you want?
Ramsey, every day.
Okay, from Rory Hansen. Does Ramsey offer anything unique or different than any of our other players? I feel anything he can do, we have other players that can do it just as good or even better. And also... the best tweet, if you were going to mention the best tweet you saw, best tweet I saw was at half-time. Someone said, can we cancel Wilshire's loan and bring him on at half-time? So go on, Gimli.
To answer the question,
yes.
No, I genuinely don't think Ramsey gives us that much. He's a confidence player that when he's at his top, at the top of his game, he's probably one of the best in our team. But when he's bad, he is really, really bad. I would say that the performance against Bournemouth wasn't his worst. I've seen worse from him. But, I mean, where'd you cut it? Because our fans never give him a break. He could have half a good season, and then he has one good game, and he's back to being shit again. So where
because people expect him to live up to that season where he scored like 17 goals. Yeah, last night, 90% pass accuracy. Hello? Yeah. Jace is smiling. That's all I wanted.
But where'd you get to the point, like we said earlier on in the podcast, where do you swap Jack Wilshere and Aaron Ramsey? Because as Jimmy said, Jack Wilshere probably suits our type of play at this very moment in time more than Aaron Ramsey does. So do you send him out on loan? For me, maybe.
Not for 60 games a season. You don't. We can accommodate both of them.
Can we though?
Yes, we will.
Yes. Could we not go out and get someone better than Aaron Ramsey? I think we could.
It might cost money though.
Yeah, well, of course it would. We've not got money.
No, got no money. It's all been spent all 40 grand of it. Right, back in your box. This next one is going to be for Mr. Fife from Jay, just simply Jay. If you had to pick one Spurs player, and he has put a star in there, so he doesn't have to say it, to replace one of ours in our starting 11, who would you choose? He said he'd go for Lloris.
Oh, that's a good.
That is a good one. That is a good one.
Yeah. I'd either go Hugo Lloris.
You just wanted to disparage his remark, his question with a fucking hell, and now you're all over it.
I got left a shit one no one else wanted. No one wanted the Spurs one. But I agree with Raj. That's a very good shot, Lloris, or if not, Christian Eriksen on the left.
Yeah.
None of them. They're all aides.
How about that Dele Alli? He's a fine, upstanding young individual. Dirty, diving, cheating, fouling cunt. Right, this one is for you, Jimmy, because it's Perez based from AFC_BAM, who is always sends in really good questions. Very happy about Perez scoring. Do you feel that he should get a run of games now where he's starting? And he's predicted Preston 1, Arsenal 2.
Hello, Bam, as well, because he's a pal of mine from my old Twitter days.
Well, there you go. That's a bit of coincidence. Lovely.
Come back.
Baby, come back.
Bye.
Yes, Perez should have. I think the difficult thing is that Walcott has probably silenced a few critics, isn't he, this year, and has been in formidable form on the right hand side. And the one thing that Theo definitely gives you when you watch him play is he probably, as a right winger, gives Bellerin more cover than any other player that plays wide. whereby Perez looks very natural as a striker. I think he's got a good work rate and he puts his foot in, but Theo has a bit more of a footballing brain as a defensive mindset. So he gets picked ahead of him. I am a firm believer that playing players on the opposite side to their strongest foot is the right way for cutting in, because it helps with Arsenal's transitional football. So you can't really play him at right wing. I think Giroud and Sanchez are in the midst of a huge battle as to who plays 9 at the moment, because Giroud's in great form and Sanchez is by far our most senior player. He's exceptional. So, but it's a great opportunity if he is fit. I think he's got a niggle for him to play at 9 Saturday against Preston. And yes, I do think he should have an extended run in the team. Every time I've seen him this year, Perez, he looks to me that he really adds something. He looks very, very good with 2 things. His movement's exceptional and his distribution. He plays really intelligent hidden passes. Like he plays the reverse ball, maybe not to the quality of Ozil, but he has that in his game where if you watch, he always knows the overlapping run's coming. He puts Bella in down the wing, he puts Ox in down the wing, and he uses his movement really, really well. And we've obviously seen, as Arsenal fans, he's clearly a very accomplished finisher, because his goal against Bournemouth was phenomenal. And like what the boy said earlier, it's only been in the clouds because of the quality of Giroud's goal a couple of days earlier. And he took and obviously his hat trick earlier on in the season was a brilliant hat trick. And actually more the 2 assists that he had for Ozil coming off the bench against Ludogorets when Ozil got his hat trick. He put in 2 exceptional crosses from the left side. So yeah, he has got everything in his game. And I wouldn't be surprised if he gets into double figures for goals and maybe even gets near there for assists. And in his first season at Arsenal, that's a bit of a statement.
Are you happy now? Because you wanted to speak about him earlier, but there was a murder occurring in your house, so you couldn't.
There was my daughter has just fallen asleep after 2 hours of hysterical crying from nightmares that she's getting at the moment. But yes, I am very content that I got to chew off Lucas Perez on the Bergkamp Wonderland podcast.
Just get her drunk. That's what we used to do with Charmin when she was little.
That's a true story as well, isn't it, Danny?
I take the piss out of her now and I go, because she's only just started drinking when she's 18 and a half. And I go, how many days sober, dear? She goes, 3. If anybody would have a drinking problem, I'm not making light of it. Poor my Uncle Tony, it killed him. Anyway, one for Raj from Bobby. Check your booty. I love that name. He says, since Sanchez and Cos are getting the night off against Preston, what formation would you use? And the important part, would you experiment with a back 3?
I mean, why'd you ask me these questions?
Oh, don't matter what I fucking asked you, you'd complain.
4-4-2-3-1.
Good. Do you reckon we'd win?
I think we'll win. I'll throw my prediction now because we're running out of time. We'll win 4-1 on Saturday.
And first scorer?
First scorer is going to be... I'm going to give it to Mustafi. I need the points.
I have to type that in now, otherwise I'll forget, because I'm fucked if I'm listening back to it. Well, fair enough. Right, the next question is going to... Gimli, you can have this one. No, it's from Gooners in the USA. It's probably Mike being a tit again. It's just been announced, breaking news on Sky Sports News, that Chris the Pirate is going to be on Gooners in the USA as their special guest soon. So expect 4 hours talking about men in leotards.
I would imagine he's going to hipster the absolute shit out of it.
Oh, I tell you what, it'll be beard combing all the way through it. No, he can't grow a beard, can he? He says, do you think that since there is apparently an African Cup of Nations every 4 months, causes some teams to avoid signing top African players? I think that's a very good point, because we used to have lots of them and now we have one, which is only by default.
Although, Danny,
yes,
yeah, just to go back on the Chris thing, I believe we ended the podcast the other week and we said that it was actually a crime that we didn't rip the piss out of his bedspread.
So the Satin Desires.
Yeah, so if you're listening to this podcast now when you're friends with Chris, go and have a look at his hair, his new hairdo, and then go and have a look at his bedspread and tell me that there's not been a change there.
And you know there's a box of Alice bands under the bed.
That's AFC Freddy. AFC Freddy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So go and check.
AFC Freddy 8. I never.
Yeah, know. AFC Freddy 8.
Is it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, bless him. He does try.
Yeah. Anyway, carry on.
Yeah, because we've only got one African Cup of Nations player at the moment, and that's Iwobi, and that's because although he was born there, he did represent England at lots of youth
And
levels.
El Neni, Dan. We got El Neni as well.
Oh, and El Neni's gone with it. I keep forgetting that Egypt's in bloody Africa. How bad of that is me?
Did Iwobi not go, or has he gone?
Well, I don't know. I think Egypt have got a friendly, which is why he was called up sooner than some of the other ones. But you look back in the day, we've had some magnificent players. I mean, Kolo and Kanu and oh my God, I'm drawing a blank.
Chivinho. Oh.
Abue.
Oh, I was only there to see Abue.
Yes, Emmanuel.
Yeah, see if anybody wants him.
Shamak.
Oh,
just been let go by Cardiff after 2 games.
Oh, there's no more in the tank, boys. I'm dry.
The Moroccan princess. I loved him.
Oh dear. Go on, Gim. Do you think that because they do have because they change how often they have, like the Copa South America, they've changed how often they used to do that, and I think even the Americans, they're the one that they have, they're hosting that differently. It's not in any kind of regularity. Previously, like it was with the World Cup and the European Championships, where it is every 4 years, no matter what, unless it's in fucking Qatar. Go on. What are you doing? Have you muted yourself?
Oh no, I was rolling a bifter. Sorry.
You answer the fucking question.
Well, what was the question? Because you waffled. I was listening, but you waffled.
Do you think that because we have the African nations, do you think that's why we don't sign more African players? Because they're skillful?
No, I think it's just because African players are a bit poverty, really.
No, they are.
Yeah, I mean, apart from Al Nene and Iwobi, obviously, but
apart from all the ones you can mention that aren't.
Yeah, but the rest of them, I mean, bad ones, isn't there? Really?
Okay, right.
Chivinho, to name a name. Terrible.
He's off in China, earning a fortune. Captain Snuggles has asked one about should we shoot more, should we tackle more, and what do you think of Cohen Bramall? I don't think anybody knows anything about him apart from what I've already said. This next one is going to be
cheeky Nando's, I heard.
This one is for Mr. Fife from Will Ellis. Should we be worried about Alexis' attitude, or is he just a born winner? I think he's implying that when he gets angry when we don't win, when he stormed off the pitch after the 3-3.
No, we shouldn't be worried about that.
Yeah, he's a born winner.
Like I said earlier, if you go to the games, he walks down the tunnel. He's the first one down the tunnel every week, win or lose. Desperate to get home to his fucking dogs.
Jack Joseph, our Haitian sensation in New York, has sent us one. He says something. He says, "Bon année à tous, bandits de Singis effrontés," or some shit like that. I don't know. And he's saying, "Do the tactics stop us scoring goals?" And this is the final one. We'll go to Jimmy from John West. He does a lovely line in tuna. If you could set me up some. My new diet incorporates me eating shitloads of mackerel and tuna. He says,
"That's what we're going to do with you when you die, Daddy. We're going to put you in brine."
Oh, lovely.
We get Carpenter to do it.
Don't talk too much about fish, because Chris will end up derobing and sliding around on his satin sheets covered in oil again. John West says, "Would you rather have Giroud's hair or Giroud's beer?" He says, "I know which one John Welsh would take. P.S. Tottenham are still shit. Discuss."
Tottenham are still shit. I've been blonde since the day I left my mother, and in my many attempts to grow a beard, the closest thing I've got to growing a beard is about 3 millimeters of hair after 6 weeks without shaving, and it caused a horrendous rash. So I don't even know what it feels like to grow facial hair. I always found it odd. Abel Xavier, he had a white beard. He was my hope. Remember him?
He dyed it.
Did he?
Blonde, yeah, Portuguese player, Liverpool and Everton.
That's him.
Yeah.
He had a phenomenal beard, didn't he?
I think he dyed it.
He was like Santa on a sunbed, wasn't he? He was
a bit shit, a bit poverty, as Gimli would say.
Yeah, a bit poverty. I really couldn't give 4 fucks. Giroud's hair.
Okay, right, Gimli, that's all the questions done, and it only took about 6 minutes longer than we wanted. Oh, Raj is giving birth. Hurry up.
I know, right, we're ending this now. So we'll do some predictions. Raj has already given his, but we'll get him to do it again just so you don't have to trail back into the podcast.
I've got it. I read it. I wrote it down.
Wonderful.
I writ it down. Jesus, I've gone all
Well, go on.
Northern.
Give me your prediction for Preston away in the FA Cup.
Oh, well, Preston at the moment, they are in the Championship, and where are they in the league? Oh, bloody hell. This new site, they're 11th. In the last 5 games, won 2, drawn 2, lost 1. They're no mugs. They've lost 9 out of 25 games. I think we're going to go there and beat them 3-1. And the first goal scorer, Perez.
Wonderful.
Don't know why I say
I'm
that.
going to chip in. I'm going to chip in as well, and I'm going to say I think we'll beat them 4-1, and I'm going for Lucas Perez as well. 5.
Sorry, I was eating my Christmas tree. I'll go
Christmas
4-0.
tree?
Fucking animal.
No, recycle it, fuck's sake.
I'm taking it down tonight. Islington comes on a Friday morning.
Well, why are you eating it?
Because I'm hungry, because you guys starved me of dinner time.
And love.
I'm going to go 4-0, and I'm going to go Lucas Perez.
Wonderful. And
there's a
finally,
consensus here.
Jimmy.
I just want to say I really hope Danny Welbeck gets on the pitch, but I will say Lucas, and I think it'll be 2-1. I think we always get done tight in these games. 2-1.
Wonderful. And then shout outs. Then I hope you all have a shout out lined up. I'm going to go first. My shout out goes to N Gracie 1983. That's NGRACEY 1983. He's a keen listener of the podcast, tunes in every week, and I had the pleasure of chatting to him this week. He is a lovely guy and a top gooner, so get following him. And a big hello to you, Neil. And Danny.
Bert is fat. Must also add that I said to go and make me laugh, and at Stan_the_man 68 has sent me loads of pictures of Sylvester Stallone giving it, and then buildings and fruit and shoes that look just like it. So
fruit and shoes.
Yeah, so go and have a look at my timeline. I've been favouriting them. Yeah, so that goes. And also we got to say happy birthday to the very our wonderful Mr. Goonaholic. It's a big birthday next Wednesday. So in case we forget to do it, because it'll be Thursday by the time we do the next pod. So happy birthday, Mr. Holic.
Happy birthday.
Oh, that's
birthday,
fucking
David.
Astounding, isn't it? If he listens, he's going to end up topping himself.
No, you'll have to edit.
Happy birthday, David.
Yeah, happy birthday, David.
You miserable fucks.
You are going to edit that, though, aren't you?
No, I'm fucking not. And it's all your fault, you shits.
Sorry, David.
Too late.
Yeah, have a good one, mate.
Yeah. But does that mean he's not going to be back? Is he not going to be on Thursday?
He said he's going to be drunk for 2 weeks.
Oh, I don't know who we got on next Thursday. I think Kate's coming up soon.
And he's just tweeted me and told me he's got a Zimmer frame arriving on Tuesday evening. Lovely.
Is that the big 7-0?
I think a little bit less than that. Quite a lot less than that.
He knows it was all meant in good taste. Right, anyway, we'll continue with the shout-outs. And Rev, over to you.
I don't need to do a football one, do I?
Do whatever you
give
want.
me a shout-out
Do
to
dominoes.
I've got a brilliant one. This is the best Twitter account to follow at the moment. At DPRK_news. It's a spoof North Korean news service. The latest tweet is, mass escape of ferrets from Pyongyang Zoological Park results in only minimal casualties, thanks to quick thinking of Marshal Kim Jong-un. So follow that account. It's hilarious.
We're on a different level to him, aren't we, Danny?
We certainly are. I'm just having a look at their thing now. We've got 9 people I know follow them. Matt Lucas follows them.
Yeah,
Brian Cox.
Yes.
Mr. Davis. Mr. Fife.
Yeah.
And Rob Parrott. There you go.
That's wonderful.
Go on, then. Move it on.
Is it Jimmy? Jimmy for the shout-out next?
I don't know who to shout out because I don't have the social media.
We'll just say hello to somebody you like who isn't even on
just
twatter.
say to someone that you like.
Milkman.
Shout out to Jack Truth, AFC.
I'll shout out Karim Benzema for ruining my fucking summer 2 years ago.
That's brilliant.
Don't worry, I hear he's bringing out a DVD of it for you.
And also, my mother was 62 days ago, and my father-in-law is his birthday tomorrow. So happy birthday!
Happy birthday!
Oh, hello.
And you still picked Karim Benzema first. Top lad, Jimmy. Top lad. Is that the shout-outs done? Have we all had a shout-out?
I think it is.
Wonderful.
I haven't. I'm going to give a shout out to my girlfriend who's been sat next to me with her face like a slapped ass for the last 2 hours.
Lady
Put her on
Five.
the show. Put her on the show.
She's been sat in silence looking at holidays like a good girl.
I've got the TV on mute for you.
Oh, there you go. So she's got the
Cool.
TV on mute for me.
She's
sounds
well
sexy.
spoken.
Take her to Borneo.
Tell Lady Fife we're extremely grateful.
Yeah. Well
And
done,
I've got
Mr.
real shout out is
Hello.
to Joel49, who's the nun flying Iceman. He's
know
a
him.
big Arsenal fan, very good for restaurant recommendations, and also interestingly shared my interest in reading Mein Kampf this year. So that was my Christmas present. So
That's a cheeky laugh going on in the background, Andrew. I could tell you're a happy man.
You didn't
He
buy,
doesn't say anything because his girlfriend's.
you didn't buy a satin sheets then, Fife?
No, I didn't.
Oh, there you go. That's where you're going wrong. Chris can sort you out. He gets them in a bulk lot because these ones get stained really
You could
easily.
probably even print your name on them if you want.
He probably would. On the pillows, you can have Fife and Lady Fife on the pillows.
Yeah. Oh, right. We've gone wonky.
It's gone all on the wonk.
So all that's left then is to thank my wonderful panelists tonight. Raj, Andrew and Jimmy. Danny, you have to be here.
You have to bloody be here more often, you little shit.
No, I'm going to be. I'm making
2 in
the
3
effort.
now. You've fucking outdone yourself.
I know. The drugs are helping. Let's not say any more on that.
I coughed.
So that what?
I coughed. That's why I muted. That was an awkward
So
silence.
that. Oh Jesus' sake! Fuck! Shut up! Right, you done?
Yeah.
Say goodbye to them now.
Goodbye now.
Say goodbye, listeners.
Good Fife, listeners.
So that was a Bergkamp Wonderland podcast. Thank you so much for listening, and a happy new year. Good night.
Bert is fat.
Who is this Bert you keep on about?
The only person who's going to laugh at that is Akib. Akib! Akib! Bert Kreischer. Or Bert Chrysler. Bert Chrysler is fat.
Not a clue.
You don't want a clue. Oh, hello to Jason Isaacs. I forgot to put that in. Fuck. There you go.
I think you should just edit that in just when there's a silent bit. Hello to Jason Isaacs, and then we carry on talking.
No, that involves editing skills. I just mash the keyboard in my face until it's some kind of resemblance of a podcast turns up.
That was all right, though. I thought that
Very
flowed
good.
Well
very
done,
well.
chat. Yeah, it's good. That enjoyed it. Good to be back.
Jimmy, don't be a
Yes.
stranger, because we will utilise.
Well, let's use one of Gimli's accounts that he uses to hate people on AFTV with. He's got about 30 of them. He's gone fucking quiet again.
It's because I keep pushing the thing with my fucking.
Yeah.
I'm going downstairs to have dinner after this, fam.
You have it.
fucking.
You're malnourished after all your smoking. Is that what it is?
I've got to build up a
Big fat
hunger,
frying.
Jimmy. I am Bolivian.
Enjoyed it. Good to come back, and always good to chew the fat with Raj and Fife. Good company.
Yeah, well,
Raj is
like I said,
miserable.
well, I don't know if you
I'm
heard
not
me or
miserable.
not.
I'm really.
Oh, you gave the season a -5 or whatever it was.
A 5, I said.
Same bloody thing.
Oh, I've got
Yeah.
higher expectations than most people.
Don't have high morals though, do you?
Nah.
When it comes to food, fuck it, anything. Cover it in sugar and you'll eat it.
Oh,
That's-
we'll fucking
that's
slam
nice,
that in.
honestly. Yeah, I know.
Drizzle it with chocolate, I'll eat it.
I had caviar on the plane last week. It was disgusting.
Oh.
Fucking did.
Why'd you enter
It was-
into that bollocks?
I don't know. It just tastes like rotten mackerel. That's what I'd say.
It's not as fun.
In fact,
as
it actually made me puke. It's the second time in 2 years that I've puked up on a plane.
Oh,
that made you sick.
Yeah, it did.
I bet they
It took-
scooped it back up. No one will notice.
took about 6 hours for it to come out, but it wasn't very nice. So there you
They
go.
probably did, and they probably scooped it up and then gave it to economy.
Yeah, probably.
So we've even warmed this one up for you.
Fish paste.
Yeah, that's a crab paste.
Sitting on the washing machine again, Five.
Something like that.
Are you
That's
saying
the
goodbye
garden
to Christmas?
boy.
We still got ours up with the lights and everything.
Oh yeah, no.
Last came down.
I
Last
got
came down Boxing Day.
Of course it did, you miserable shit.
Boxing Day. That's ridiculous.
It is.
Yeah.
It's meant to be the 5th.
I can't
12
enter
days of
into
Christmas.
none of that bollocks.
He's
To be fair, you're
got-
probably trying to get rid of the evidence of the stolen tree, weren't you?
Well, Kate was sick. Kate was sick of it. I was trying to smoke it most of Christmas.
That's disgraceful. We love our Christmas tree. 6 foot of shining glorious, fake as well. None of that real nonsense.
No, I
Trees
have a fake
too.
one.
Yeah, always have.
Yeah, back in the loft. Fuck off for a year.
Sean did a shit job of decorating the house. Never again. 18 years.
We got rid of ours early doors because our daughter kept asking for Santa, and trying to explain that Santa Claus is on holiday every day just became monotonous. So we just took everything down and just told her Christmas was cancelled.
He died. That's what we told Sean when she was 4. Sean didn't. He told you Santa killed himself because you were so bad one year. There you go.
Terrible.
Yeah.
Oh,
that
brilliant.
really is bad, though.
All right, chaps, I'm off.
Yeah, enjoy, Raj. Good to chat, mate.
Yeah, anytime, Jamie. See you soon,
Raj,
guys.
are you able to do the week after next?
No, I'm in Denmark the week after next.
And then the week after that?
I can do next week. I can't do the week after next. I'm back on the 29th.
Raj, is it true that you can play Come Together in 16 different languages?
I can, yes.
Oh. I must come to one of your gigs, actually. My mother drummed the Beatles into me as a young child. I'm quite fond of the...
Where are you based, Jimmy?
I'm in and around London quite a lot.
Southend. Southend can't be that far from me.
Oh, yeah. Southend's all right, just down the old 25. Yeah, not bad.
Why can't you set up a... Oh, fuck, I forgot. Coldplay tribute act. I'd be at every fucking show.
No one else would come, though.
How about Genesis?
I don't think you can have a tribute act for someone that's a current artist. I think that's...
Okay.
It's a bit tragic, isn't it?
Oi, shut up, you bloody Teletubbies. Whatever it is you're listening to at the moment.
I've got to go. Just give me a shout when you need me. I'll be around more often.
Lovely. Anyway. All right, then. So if you say the 29th, the week of that.
Yeah, should be fine. Yeah.
Lovely. We'll get you some fritter rolls and we'll post them to you.
All right, cheers, mates.
All right, then.
Cheers, Raj.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
What's going on with your headset, Fife, for fuck's sake? You're a millionaire.
Yeah.
I'm not sure, to be honest. It's the same one that's worked fine before. I'll send you the pictures of which one it is.
Yeah.
Maybe because
How old's the
year and a
laptop?
half. The laptop's only about 7 months old or something like that. They're Logitech, but they're about a year old, I think, now. Or they about a year and a half old. The thing is,
it's got no memory on it because it's got so much insider trading stored inside it. His memory's all gone skew.
Nice. I wish. Yeah, no idea. But Buzz kept coming and going, didn't it?
He's just got a 3D version of what the fuck is it? Wolf of Wall Street on. He just watches it 12 times a day.
Yeah, it's popping culottes or whatever those things are called.
Christ, you guys.
Quailoids.
Imagination.
Anyway. Well, I'm going to go and make sure my daughter's not killed herself as well. So I'm after her episode earlier with her mother. So good to chat to you, boys. If you need me again, you know where I am.
All right, cheers, Jimmy.
Cheers, guys.
See you later.
All right.
Bye.
They've all gone. Are you on mute again, you minge?
Fuck, I sat on it.
Have you been saying stuff?
Yes.
Fucking idiot.
Hold on. Put that round. I was just saying, thank you very much.
They've all gone now.
Yes, I know. I was talking
nice
away.
Now.
I thought they were just ignoring me, to be honest, but no, silence.
How long are you talking for?
Oh, good 2 minutes.
You fucking idiot. What were you saying?
I know. I was just saying thank you for the podcast. Thought it was very good. I had an enjoyable time. Hopefully it'll be popular. But no, it was between putting my... It was between moving the laptop, rolling a spliff, and putting some clothes on. It was a messy incident. I mean, I wouldn't want to watch it back. No.
I think naked does have its downsides.
No, I wasn't. No, I wasn't naked. I do the podcast upstairs, and I like to, and I sit in bed while I do the podcast. Well, it's a bit wrong to sit in bed with trousers on. Nobody does that. It's weird.
I bet Mark does. He sleeps in his corduroys.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah.
That is
pink
weird.
Ones, obviously.
Right, I'm going because my dinner is calling.
Oh, lovely.
Rightio, I'll speak to you in a bit, cock.
All right, be lucky, Treacle.
And you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Well, they've all gone. It's just me now. They've all gone, Baba. They've all gone. They've left me. Yeah. Lonely now. I'm all sad now. I'm lonely.
I'm sad and lonely.
I
Where's
am.
your phone case?
Took it off.
Why?
Doing Instagram videos of recording the show. Oh, people need to see these things. Yeah, they do. You hating? I'm not having any of that shit. You take that back. You're horrible. You're adopted.
Wish.
We got you from a Nigerian family.
Oh, really?
That'll explain the
White skin?
the hair.
Okay.
You have an afro until you were 12.
Mm-hmm.
It was.
Mm-hmm.
It's the truth.
Mm-hmm.
Bloody is. Make me coffee if you want.
Mm-mm.
I didn't ask to be a parent. My bloody schwash. What's my schwash? You just made up a word there. That could mean anything. Schwapping. Disgraceful. Starving.